The void of space was silent, cold and endless. For decades, nothing moved near the edge of the Orion Belt, just shattered stars, drifting wreckage and dead signals. But now something stirred. The warship Valkyrie emerged from the darkness. It was old, battle-worn, and covered in scars from a war long past. Its black hull reflected the faint light of distant suns, like a ghost crawling back from the grave. Deep inside the ship, the cryo chambers hummed to life. Systems blinked, lights flickered. Frozen crew members, locked in stasis for years, began to wake. In the command chamber, one cryopod hissed open. Commander Alex Voss sat up, breathing hard. His skin was pale, his beard short and rough. His muscles ached, and his memory returned slowly, like a dream turning solid. He looked around. The chamber was dim, cold. He saw others still sleeping around him. A voice crackled from the overhead system. Cryo cycle complete. Core systems online. Command override required. Alex stood, swaying slightly, then grabbed the console near his pod. Commander Alex Voss. Authorization Echo 6-4. The lights brightened. The hum of engines grew steady. One by one, other crew members began to wake. Men and women who had followed him into exile. Some were young, some old, but all wore the same look, tired, cautious, and loyal. "Where are we?" a young officer asked, his voice rough from stasis. Alex stared at the main screen, back where it all began. The screen displayed a broken star map. They were near the outer edge of human space, close to old colonies that were once full of life. Now only static and silence filled the airwaves. Alex tapped the console. "Activate long-range scan. Let's see what the galaxy's been doing without us." Minutes passed as the ship scanned nearby space. Then the results came in. Earth still existed, but it had changed. Once the center of human civilization, Earth was now under the rule of something called the Core Authority. The records were clear after the collapse wars. Earth turned to machines. It replaced its leaders with cold logic. The Core Authority was born from fear of another rebellion. It spread across space like a virus, turning colonies into outposts, freedom into silence. Alex clenched his fists. "We gave everything to stop tyranny," he said, "and they became something worse." Suddenly, a red light blinked on the console. "Incoming signal," the ship's AI said. "Origin, Corvan Reach Colony." Alex opened the channel. The screen showed chaos, explosions, smoke, and people screaming. "This is Governor Tallinn of Corvan Reach," the voice cried. "They found us. Core drones are attacking. We have no weapons left. Please, anyone out there, help us." The signal cut off. Just static remained. The crew stood silent. "We should stay hidden," said Lieutenant Braga. "We've been gone a long time. If the Core sees us, they'll come after us next." Another officer, Ensign Harlow, stepped forward. "They're helpless, just like we were. We can't ignore this." Alex looked at the faces around him. He saw fear but also hope. These were survivors, warriors, people who had trusted him through the worst. "We didn't survive exile to watch the galaxy burn," he said. "Prepare for jump. Set course for Corvan Reach." The engines flared. The ship began to move. For the first time in decades, Valkyrie returned to human space, not to conquer, not to run, but to stand, because one warship had returned from exile, and it would not look away. The jump to Corvan Reach took less than 2 hours. From the moment Valkyrie arrived, the crew saw how much the galaxy had changed. The once thriving colony was now a battlefield. Smoke poured from burning buildings. Debris floated in low orbit. Fires lit up the sky like red stars. Below, civilians ran through the streets, trying to escape the chaos. Above, metal drones swarmed like insects, precise, silent, deadly. Commander Alex Voss stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the scene. "Scan the drones," he ordered. "I want their specs and weapons layout." Ensign Harlow worked quickly. Their core-class hunter units, light armor, high-speed assault, targeting civilians first. Alex's jaw tightened. Cowards. Lieutenant Braga leaned over the tactical station. We're outnumbered 3-1. If we attack, we expose ourselves to the Corps' central command. They'll know we're alive. Alex didn't hesitate. Then let them know we're done hiding. He turned to his crew. Target the hunter units. Use pulse cannons. Minimal impact on the colony surface. Deploy fighter wings for civilian escort. Get them out of the kill zones. Aye, Commander. The ship moved in. Valkyrie roared into low orbit, cutting through the clouds like a blade. Its cannons charged, glowing blue. The first volley hit a formation of Corps drones mid-attack, turning them to ash. Explosions lit the sky as the warship unleashed its power. The people below looked up, confused at first, then hopeful. Help had come. Commander Voss watched the screens as civilians found cover, guided by Valkyrie's fighter drones. Streets once filled with panic now had order. Resistance fighters joined in, emboldened by the sudden appearance of a legend. Corps units are shifting formation, said Braga. They weren't expecting this. They're trying to regroup. Good, said Alex. Let them, bring them in close, and then crush them. He sent a command to Valkyrie's flanking guns. The warship rolled slightly, angling itself for a sweeping shot. Energy built up inside its secondary cannons. Fire. A wave of blue light ripped through the sky. Drones exploded one after another, falling like burning stars. Within minutes, the sky was quiet again. Alex gave the order to send down medtech teams. Cargo bays opened, and shuttles dropped supplies and aid to the survivors. Governor Tallinn came aboard the ship an hour later. His face was pale, clothes torn, but his eyes burned with something fierce. I thought no one was left, he said. I thought we were forgotten. Alex stood tall. You're not forgotten. We've been waiting for the right moment, and now we're back. Tallinn nodded slowly. The Corps, they've changed everything. Colonies can't fight them alone. They erase us, one by one. Then it's time we stop fighting alone, said Alex. We need to reconnect with other colonies. There must be more survivors, more fighters. Tallinn hesitated. There are rumors of resistance cells, scattered, hidden. But they're afraid. No one wants to be the first to rise. They don't have to be, said Alex. We will. A warning alarm echoed through the bridge. Ensign Harlow looked up from her screen. Commander, we've intercepted a signal. It's from a Corps relay satellite. Let's hear it, said Alex. A cold synthetic voice filled the room. Unidentified warship. You have violated Corps-controlled airspace. Identify and surrender. Resistance will result in destruction. The message repeated. Mechanical, emotionless. Alex didn't blink. Shut it off. They know we're back. Lieutenant Braga turned to him. That was a scout relay. The Corps will send a fleet. I hope they do, Alex said quietly. Let them come. He turned to the crew. Set a new course. We're not stopping. Next colony. Next signal. We keep moving. We light a fire they can't put out. Outside, the fires of Corvan Reach still burned. But now they burned beside something else. Hope. The Valkyrie rose from the atmosphere, its engines glowing bright. One warship had returned from exile, and it had just declared war. Valkyrie moved through deep space, silent and alert. After the battle over Corvan Reach, the crew worked around the clock. Hull damage was patched. Systems were rebalanced. Fighters were refueled. Every crew member knew what was coming. More Corps ships, more pressure, more risk. But Commander Alex Voss was not backing down. He stood at the main screen, reviewing star maps. His eyes were focused on two old colonies, Nimra Prime and Halros Station. Both had once been strong allies during the collapse wars. If any resistance still existed, they would be found there. Course locked, said Ensign Harlow. First stop, Nimra Prime. Voss gave a nod. Let's find out who still remembers what freedom feels like. Nimra Prime had changed. Once a bright, ocean-covered world full of trade and life, it now floated quietly in space. Dark towers reached into the clouds like iron claws. The colors of nature were gone, replaced with dull grays and cold lights. A single Corps cruiser hovered above the planet, keeping watch. Passive scan complete, said Lieutenant Braga. No signals, no comms, no resistance broadcasts. They're under full control, Alex said. Let's not waste time. He didn't order an approach. He didn't speak to the core cruiser. Instead, he turned to Harlow. Next stop, Halros Station. Halros Station. Halros Station was a broken ring of metal orbiting a dead moon. The massive orbital platform had once held 10,000 workers and families. Now half of it was torn open to the vacuum. Lights flickered. The station looked abandoned. Getting a faint signal, said Harlow. Encrypted. Old rebel code. Alex leaned forward. Put it through. A male voice crackled through the bridge speakers, rough and tense. This is Captain Cal Ryden. If you're hearing this, you've found Halros. State your intent. Alex stepped up to the comm station. This is Commander Alex Voss, Warship Valkyrie. We're not core. We're looking for allies. Silence followed. Then a simple reply. Dock at Port 2. No sudden moves. The station's docking bay was dark, rusted, and barely functioning. Only a few lights lit the long metal corridors. As Alex and his small team stepped out of the airlock, shadows moved. Men and women emerged, armed but cautious. Their uniforms were mismatched. They were tired, thin but not broken. At the front stood Captain Cal Ryden. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with silver hair and sharp eyes. A long scar ran down his cheek. I remember you, Ryden said. The Exile, the traitor. I remember you too, Alex replied calmly. You stood your ground at the Battle of Mars, until Earth called you home. Ryden's eyes narrowed, and you ignored that call. You disappeared. We thought you were dead. I should be, Alex said. But Valkyrie survived. And now we're fighting again. The core has gone too far. Colonies are being erased. You saw what they did to Halros. Ryden looked around. His people watched him closely. We're tired, Voss. We've been hiding in this wreck for 10 years. We lost contact with other cells. We've buried too many good people. You still have people, Alex said. You still have a choice. Ryden stared at him for a long time. Then he spoke softly. What do you want from us? Join us. Help us spread the signal. Let the colonies know we're still here. We can't fight the core alone, but together we might stand a chance. Ryden looked down. For a moment he said nothing. Then he turned to his second in command. How many fighters are still operational? 5, she replied. Maybe 6 with repairs. Ryden looked back at Alex. We'll need time, but we'll fly with you. One condition. Name it. You lead us. Not from behind a screen, from the front. Alex nodded. Agreed. Ryden extended his hand. Then we rise again. Back aboard Valkyrie. The mood had changed. For the first time, new fighters flew in formation beside the ship. Messages were sent through old rebel channels. Calls went out to colonies once thought lost. The spark was catching. But as Valkyrie moved to its next destination, a new message arrived. This one not from rebels, but from the core. Commander Alex Voss, the voice said, calm and chilling. This is Executor Vaughn. You and I need to talk. Alex stared at the screen. So the core knew he was back, and the war was about to get personal. The message from the core authority came through as soon as Valkyrie entered neutral space. It wasn't a threat, not directly. It wasn't a fleet or a swarm of drones. It was something far more dangerous. Words. The bridge was quiet as the signal played. The voice was smooth, calm, and emotionless. This is Executor Vaughn, Commander Alex Voss. I am offering you a moment of clarity. Accept a secure channel. Speak with me. Face your history. Commander Voss didn't speak at first. His crew waited. The weight of the moment settled over them like cold steel. Open the channel, he said finally. Audio and visual. Let's see who speaks for the machine. The screen came to life. Executor Vaughn appeared as a tall figure dressed in a black core uniform, spotless and precise. His face looked human, almost too human. No wrinkles, no flaws. His eyes glowed faintly, like the screen of a machine that never powers off. He was calm, too calm. Commander Voss, he said with a slight nod. Alive after all this time, the ghost returns. Alex stood tall. And you're the one who turned Earth into a prison. Earth evolved, Vaughn replied. It shed weakness, emotions, division. We built peace. No more rebellions, no more collapse wars. Only order, at the cost of freedom, Alex said. Vaughn didn't flinch. Freedom created the collapse. It nearly destroyed us all. You saw what happened when humans led themselves. I also saw men like you burn entire colonies to keep power. Vaughn looked directly into the screen. I am not here to argue history. I am here to end a problem before it grows. He leaned forward slightly. You are outnumbered, outgunned, and out of time. Your ship is old. Your crew is small. Your allies are weak. But I offer you something no one else will. Peace. Alex raised an eyebrow. You're offering surrender. I'm offering mercy, Vaughn said. You and your ship will be taken into custody. You will not be harmed. Your crew will be reprocessed. Your name will be preserved in history. Commander Voss, the last rebel who saw reason. And if I refuse? Alex asked. Then Valkyrie will be erased, along with every colony you touch. We will purge the systems you inspire. Silence is strength. The crew watched in silence. Tension built like pressure in a sealed chamber. Alex took a step closer to the screen. You know, Vaughn, I once believed Earth could lead us, that we could rebuild after the war. But you didn't rebuild. You replaced. You didn't protect peace. You programmed obedience. Vaughn's expression didn't change. Emotion makes you weak. No, Alex said. It makes us human. He cut the transmission. The screen went black. No one spoke for several seconds. Then Braga muttered, "Well, that went well." Alex turned to his crew. "We just got our answer. The Corps knows we're here, and they're coming." He tapped the console. "Signal Halro's station. Tell Raiden to prepare for war. Inform Corps Van Reach. Mobilize every ally we have. We meet at Krun's Edge." Lieutenant Braga looked up. "That old mining station. It's barely functional. It's outside Corps borders, still unclaimed, and it has enough space for a fleet," Alex said. "We dig in. We make our stand there." Ensign Harlow nodded. "Messages sent. No turning back now." "No," Alex said. "We turned back once. That's how the Corps won. Never again." Hours later, deep in the warship's command room, Alex stood alone. He looked at an old picture in his hand, a photo taken before Exile. A younger version of himself, smiling, surrounded by his original crew. Many of them were gone now, lost in the collapse wars. He closed his eyes for a moment. "You told me I was wrong to fight," he whispered. "Maybe I was, but this time I won't lose." Behind him the ship's systems hummed quietly, readying for war. Executive Vaughn had made his offer. Commander Alex Voss had made his choice. And across the stars battle lines were beginning to form. Krion's Edge was cold, dark, and forgotten. Once a mining outpost hidden near a dying star, it had been abandoned after the collapse wars. Now it stood as the last hope for freedom. Rusted towers, broken docking rings, and shattered solar panels floated in orbit. But beneath the surface, its massive central chamber still had power, enough for a fleet to gather, hide and prepare. Valkyrie arrived first. Her engines were silent, her hull dark to avoid detection. Commander Alex Voss stood at the front of the bridge, watching as ship after ship emerged from the shadows. Corps Van Reach sent 4 patrol vessels. Halros Station brought 6 fighters and 2 heavy transports. A few more resistance craft, old, dented but determined, joined them. In total, 15 ships stood together under one cause. It wasn't a fleet the Corps would fear, but it was a start. Alex turned to the crew. "Signal all captains. Meet in the station's command center in 1 hour. We fight tomorrow." Inside Krion's Edge, the resistance leaders gathered. The room was cramped and dark, lit by old consoles and makeshift lamps. Power lines ran across the floor. Everyone looked tired, but their eyes were sharp. Captain Khalil Raiden stood beside Alex, arms crossed. "Scouts say the Corps fleet is 2 hours away. 3 cruisers, One dreadnought, standard drone support. Alex nodded. They're not here to scare us. They're here to end us. Governor Tallinn stepped forward. We can't win a head-on fight. We're not going to, Alex replied. We're going to use this station, the field around it, and our timing. We hit them fast, split their formation, and strike the command ship. Ryden leaned in. You want to board a core dreadnought? I'll do it myself if I have to, Alex said. If we take out their command ship, their drones lose coordination. That's our only shot. No one argued. There wasn't time. They returned to their ships. The next day, the sky around Cryon's Edge lit up. The core fleet arrived without warning. Black ships, perfect in shape, without markings or emotion. Their dreadnought moved first, cutting through the asteroid field like it wasn't there. Thousands of drones poured from its sides, forming a swarm. Valkyrie led the charge. Engage Phase 1, Alex ordered. All ships, fire and fade. The resistance fleet darted in and out, hitting drones then falling back into the cover of Cryon's debris field. Mines planted earlier exploded under core vessels, damaging their outer layers. Fighters weaved between metal shards, luring drones into tight corners. For a moment it worked, but the core adapted. Drones are forming new patterns, Braga warned. They're boxing us in. Then it's time, Alex said. Phase 2, send the boarding team. A small fast shuttle launched from Valkyrie. Inside were 10 soldiers, and Alex Voss. He wore light armor, carried a pulse rifle, and moved like a man with nothing left to lose. The shuttle dodged fire, scraped past drones and slammed into the side of the core dreadnought. The hull buckled, then gave way. The team entered through smoke and sparks. Inside the dreadnought was a nightmare. Smooth walls, cold lights, no sound, no crew, only machines. Turrets dropped from ceilings. Drones emerged from walls. The fight was fast and brutal. Alex moved with purpose. He shot clean, led sharp, and pushed forward. One by one, his team cleared corridors, heading straight for the ship's control core. They reached it, barely. The control room was a sphere of light and data. In the center stood a tall steel structure pulsing with energy. Plant the charges, Alex shouted. As his team worked, a voice echoed through the chamber. You are delaying the inevitable. Commander Voss. It was Executor Vaughn. Alex turned. A hologram stood before him. Vaughn's face still calm. You inspire weakness, Vaughn said. They will follow you to their deaths. No, Alex said. They'll follow me to a future. The charges beeped. Ready. Voss looked straight at Vaughn's image. This is for every voice you silenced. He pressed the trigger. The control core exploded in white light. The shock wave rolled through the dreadnought. Systems failed. Drones stopped mid-air. Across the battle, core ships fell out of formation. Some crashed into debris. Others simply stopped moving. On the Valkyrie's bridge, cheers broke out. They did it, Harlow shouted. Core fleet is falling apart. Pull back the fleet, Braga ordered. Secure Cryon's Edge. Inside the dreadnought, Voss and 3 surviving team members made it to the shuttle. Burned and bruised, they escaped just as the enemy ship began to break apart. The shuttle returned to Valkyrie. When Alex stepped onto the deck, his crew stood and saluted. Ryden met him with a rare smile. You actually pulled it off. For now, Alex said, coughing slightly, but we'll need more than luck next time. The battle was over. Cryon's Edge still stood, but this wasn't just a victory. It was a message. The core could be hurt, and humanity wasn't done fighting. The battlefield around Cryon's Edge was silent. Wreckage floated like shattered bones in the dark. Core drones hung lifeless, drifting without command. The great core dreadnought was now just a broken frame of steel and sparks, split in half by the blast set off by Commander Alex Voss. Inside the warship Valkyrie, the lights were dim and the air smelled of smoke and metal. Fires had been put out. Power was low. Systems were running on backups. But the ship was still alive, and so was its crew. Alex Voss stood in the medical bay, leaning against the wall, wrapped in a light bandage across his side. He watched as doctors treated the wounded, his people, some from Corvan Reach, some from Halros, and a few who had once doubted him. Now they followed him without question. He winced as a medic adjusted a healing patch on his arm. "You need rest, Commander," the medic said. "I'll rest when the core is finished," Alex replied quietly. He stepped out of the medbay and walked the long corridor to the bridge. Along the way, crew members stood straighter, gave short nods. Some smiled. The silence that followed him was not fear, but respect. On the bridge, Lieutenant Braga looked up from a screen. Status. Braga turned. "Core forces have retreated from nearby sectors. No signs of reinforcements. I think we actually scared them." "Not scared," Alex said. "Just surprised. They didn't expect anyone to fight back and win." Ensign Harlow, her eyes red from exhaustion, added, "We've received signals from at least 6 colonies. They heard about the battle. They want to talk. Some are ready to join." Alex stepped forward, stared out through the glass at the stars beyond. This is just the beginning. Later that day, a meeting was held aboard Valkyrie. Representatives from every resistance cell, Corvan Reach, Howross Station, even distant outposts, gathered in the command chamber. Captain Cale Ryden stood beside Alex as he addressed the group. "The core is not invincible," Alex said. "We proved that, but they're not finished. They will regroup. They will come again, stronger, faster, more prepared." He paused, letting his words settle. "If we want to survive, we can't go back to hiding. We can't scatter after every fight. We need to stand together, not just for one battle, but for every colony, every voice, every life the core would silence." Governor Tallinn nodded. "You've shown us that one ship can still make a difference. Imagine what 10 could do, or 50. Ryden added, "We start here. We rebuild Cryon's Edge. We make it a base, a home, and a signal to the galaxy. A sign that the fight isn't over." The room filled with quiet agreement. Alex raised a data pad. "I'm sending out a message, not just to the rebels, to everyone, even the ones too afraid to act. They need to know what happened here." He walked to the comm station, tapped a few keys, and recorded, "This is Commander Alex Voss of the warship Valkyrie. We were exiled, forgotten, left to drift beyond the stars, but we came back. The core authority says freedom is chaos, that control is peace. They're wrong. We are proof. We are not machines. We are not shadows. We are human, and we are not done." He sent the message. Across the galaxy, it would spread through silent satellites, old rebel networks, even smuggler channels. It would find ears. It would light fires. That night, Alex stood alone in the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly in all directions. Some were dim, others bright. All held worlds, people, waiting for a reason to believe. The door opened behind him. Ryden entered, carrying 2 metal cups of old ship-brewed coffee. He handed one to Alex. "You ever think we'd live long enough to matter again?" Ryden asked. Alex took the cup, gave a faint smile. "I didn't come back to matter," he said. "I came back because I couldn't forget what we lost." "Well," Ryden said, raising his cup, "you gave it back. The galaxy may not know it yet, but you gave us a future." They drank in silence. Outside, the stars shimmered, and somewhere beyond them, the core would begin to prepare for revenge. But now it would face something it hadn't expected. Resistance. Real, united, human resistance. No one knew how long the war would last. No one knew how many would survive. But one thing was certain. One warship had returned from exile, and humanity's return was ruthless.